I've been a life member of the CA for 40 years, and I've really been indebted to this great institution. And it's an honor to be here and to share my experience with all of you. I went through a near-death experience. I was in coma for 7 days. And somehow I remember everything, what I saw, different realities and different worlds during the period. I would like to just make one statement. It would, instead of going into too many details of that period. But I saw my body I was outside my body and I was seeing myself. And I saw my body being cut into different pieces and being given to different people, whoever needed whatever it was, and I felt no pain. And then I found that there are many people in the world who have gone through similar experiences. In fact, you can go to the YouTube and look at a video called Dying to Be Me by Anita Raghavan, not Anita. So, but Dying to Be Me, there is this video of this lady in Hong Kong, and and I've seen many other videos of many people. So this out-of-body phenomena in today's material world sounds very unreal to us, but it is there. Even earlier in my life, I have felt and experienced such phenomena. Some of 2-3 incidents I have chronicled in the preface of my book, which is 2 pages, and where I've tried to state in 2 pages what is my concept of this creation, the cosmos and the universe. So it kind of completely changed my life, and I was very, very busy. I worked worldwide, very busy as a chartered accountant, done enough, maybe more than many people. And then you realize that there is a lot more to life than simply earning and spending and consuming. So I said, now what do I want to do with the rest of my life? So the call again, I've written in my preface about our concept of Vasudev Kutumbakam. In fact, in Bombay last 2-3 days, I'm seeing that written all over the town in this G20 story. So, which again is a different subject altogether, and I'm quite in disagreement with that. But I used to always wonder that what does it mean? And now I feel, which I have stated, that we are all connected with the cosmic entity. The way all our devices, all our computers are connected with the World Wide Web, and we don't see anything, but the connection is there. And similarly, we are connected with the cosmos in a World Wide Web. You know, many of us, you think of somebody and he calls, you think of somebody that he comes. You have a dream and it comes true. There are unlimited such phenomena in life, which are not what we believe in the material world, but they all exist. You've all heard of pranic healing, Reiki, astral travel, levitation, sun healing, the mantras, the tantra. All of those exist. And I have had some connect with many of these things once in a while. Again, I shouldn't be saying I, because it's all what God is doing. The Creator makes you walk through a certain path, which you cannot really understand what it is all about. But one thing I'm very certain that everything in our life is kind of pre-written. I often wonder, how did this Leonardo da Vinci draw those drawings? How did that Jules Verne wrote those books in the 18th century, 1750s, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Journey to the Moon, Around the World in 80 Days, and Journey to the Center of the Earth. There is Time Machine by G. Wells and other books. There are people who have these visions. And this vision comes from where? And many of those visions come true. So there is a data being fed into us from some universal consciousness, universal source. And we all have those signals inside us. But in our race in this world, in the materiality and the glitter of the world, we suppress those signals. And at times we find that, in spite of doing everything, we are not happy and we don't understand anything. The reason is that we are not trying to understand our inner signals. So before I talk about homeopathy, I want to mention that in all our ancient scriptures and even in homeopathy, the concept is that the illness begins in the mind. And Manjula here, she is looking at my health initiative. I'm gradually getting into the education initiative. Just to put in 2 lines, that there is no shortage in this world of literacy and curriculum education. But knowledge of life, knowledge of destiny, knowledge of the karma, the knowledge of, what is in store for us, that is no longer being taught. People are very intelligent, very skilled, very gifted, but all in the outer world. They are totally getting disconnected from the inner world. And in that era of ignorance, there is a sense of fear. Because when you don't know, you are afraid. In the ancient times, the children were taught the knowledge of life first and the vocational training thereafter. But today the knowledge of life is vanishing, and it is also being sort of made fun of. That those all ancient practices are all not true. They are like, maybe once upon a time it was there or not there. But I can tell you all of those practices are real. The only reason we don't get to see them in reality very much is because the heart is not pure. People are trying to use them for a private, selfish motive. The moment there is a self involved, the power, the deep vision that shows you the reality of this creation gets blurred. Like some gentleman asked me about cataract. It's like we've suffered from a cataract. You come across a lot of people who are very skilled and very good, but the moment there is a greed, the skill goes away or the error becomes very high. So the real saints will do work selflessly, and they have such skills even today that they can tell your past, they can tell your future, they can tell what you're going through without even meeting you with your time and date of birth and place of birth. I have come across many people. I have seen many such instances myself. I had never subscribed to this all my life, but about 7-8 years, because I had this one accident and I was in coma for 7 days. And just before my accident, about 4 or 5 months before, I had met some people. They said, look, there is a risk to your life and your health. You take this care, this care, this care. And there, after my recovery, I came across so many things people told me, and they all happened. And then I tried to check about a few others. They said, no, he's going through this, he's going through this, he's going through this. So how is it possible? All my life, I never subscribed to anything. But in the last 7 years, when I'm seeing, I said, this is the absolute truth. How the planets are working on our energy, and how the changing from the point of birth and how that changing energy of the planets is having an effect on us, and how we are going through that journey, and how people can predict in your childhood what you're going to go through. And if that be the truth, then I am kind of, totally lost, because that's not the current education, current curriculum, current skills, current thinking in which the whole world is busy. But yet it is so true. So before I come back to homeopathy, I would like, since I said that all diseases begin in the mind, so what is the cure for the mind? The cure for the mind is meditation, which is above all medicine. Where we synchronize our energies. So we will talk about 5-7 minutes. Manjula will speak on meditation. We do a universal prayer and share one or two concepts, and then I will come back to the subject of health and cure. Please.
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। गुड इवनिंग। कुछ हमारी फाउंडेशन की जो प्रेयर है वो हम सब मिलकर यहाँ पर करते हैं, जो हमने भैया के लिए तो रखी है और आप सबके कल्याण के लिए भी रखी है। तो हम चालू हो जाते हैं प्रेयर के लिए। आंखें थोड़ी बंद रखेंगे। ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। यहाँ हम बात करते हैं जहां पर हम अपने बॉडी, माइंड और साथ में सोल के कॉन्शियस और डिसकॉन्शियस माने अनकॉन्शियस माइंड और कॉन्शियस माइंड के बारे में जानते हैं। तो लगता है कि बॉडी क्या 3 टुकड़ों में बटी हुई है, और ये 3 टुकड़ों में बटी भी नहीं है, ये तो आ, ऊ और म का हमें संकेत देती है। आ से हमारे पैरों की एनर्जी, तो ऊ से हमारे वेस्ट से लेकर हमारे शोल्डर तक की एनर्जी में, जहां पर हमारे प्रभु का पालनहार ने हमें कल्याण करने की वो शक्ति दी है जो हम सब कर सकते हैं। और ध्यान वो मकार ध्वनि है जो हमेशा भगवान शिव के पास में है। तो इस तरह से अनेक तकलीफों को आगे बढ़ते हुए और देखते हुए हम जब बढ़ते हैं तो हमारे चक्रास के बॉडी में 7 मेजर पॉइंट्स हैं। ऐसे तो हमारे 114 हैं, परंतु 7 मेजर पॉइंट्स हैं, और जिसे आप सभी जानते हैं। जैसे फर्स्ट पॉइंट है हमारा रूट चक्रास, सैक्रल चक्रास, एंड उसके बाद में है सोलर चक्रास जो नाभि के पास में है, जिसको बेली बटन कहते हैं। फोर्थ चक्रास आपका है हार्ट। हार्ट का मजबूत होना कितना जरूरी होता है। ये हार्ट ही आपका आगे बढ़ने का संकेत देता है, और आगे जब बढ़ जाते हैं तो धीरे धीरे आपके गले से सूर की वो वाणी निकलने लगती है जो मां सरस्वती का वास होता है। उसे हम विशुद्धि चक्र कहते हैं। सीधे सीधे आगे बढ़ते हैं तो ध्यान का, नॉलेज का एक मार्ग ऐसा नजर आता है। तो ज्ञान और ध्यान हमें बचपन से ही मिल रहा है। ध्यान से खाना खाना है, ध्यान से सो, ध्यान से चलो। ध्यान और मेडिटेशन हमें करना नहीं होता है, हमें उसमें होना होता है। उस समय आपको नींद नहीं लेनी होती है, क्योंकि थर्ड आईज जो कि हमारे दोनों आईब्रोज के बीच में आपके तिलक के स्थान पर होती है, जहां आपको आशीर्वाद का एक सूचक बनाया जाता है। और ये थर्ड आईज हमारे महादेव की है, जो जिसे हम इंडिगो कलर से वसीभूत करते हैं। फिर हम टॉप ऑफ द हेड पे जाते हैं, तो टॉप ऑफ द हेड पर तभी तो वो शक्तियां, वो पॉइंट्स के हर एक प्रभाव हमें जान पड़ते हैं, जहां हमारे हजार फूल लोटस के खिल जाते हैं। जीवन की हर एक खुशियां आपको मिलती है जो आप चाहते हैं, और इन खुशियों में हमने वो सब चाहा है जो हमें मिला है। इस किताब के माध्यम से, भैया के प्यार के माध्यम से, मैं आप लोगों के सामने में आप सबका आशीर्वाद लेते हुए भैया को वापस से हमारी क्लास को कंटिन्यू करने की प्रे करती हूँ, या मेहनत करना जो है। थैंक यू एवरीवन।
बीमारी मन से शुरू होती है, मन की तकलीफ अज्ञान से होती है। तो ज्ञान का मतलब क्या है? व्हाट इज नॉलेज? आई ऑफन थिंक एंड कीप थिंकिंग and keep trying to listen to so many people, read so many things. One of my thoughts is that there are probably two paths. One is the inner path, one is the outer path. If we only walk on one, there is problem. We need to walk on both parallelly so that we can balance ourselves in our life. Whatever be the inner core connectivity, the frequency, each one is unique, and nobody can live the life of anybody else, and nobody should even try to compare with anybody else. And if we can keep exploring our inner journey along with the outer journey, we will be able to find our own guidance. Coming to the outer journey, because that is the focus of today. In this world, there is nature and there is synthetic. Nature is God made, and synthetic is man tinkered. Man cannot make anything. Man tinkers with nature and creates synthetic. In the last 100 years or 200 years, mankind has learned to do a lot of tinkering and to create a lot of materials. But it is not able to reverse any of the creation of those materials because the deep energy of nature is not known to us. And what really gets altered deep inside, we don't know. We are still discovering and trying to figure out those energies at a much more of a micro nano level. You hear of nanomedicine, you hear of quantum phenomena, you hear of the collider trying to understand bosons and muons. But one fundamental feature is that because anything which is created by man and man doesn't know by tinkering nature and man doesn't know how the nature has been altered, it becomes synthetic and toxic. And that toxicity, my body, which is a natural body, does not accept. And we have all kinds of problems due to the outputs of tinkering of nature, the crops, the food, the environment, the medicines. And we are getting further and further away from nature. homeopathy is pure nature. 200 years ago, 1690, 1700, Hahnemann, who was the founder of homeopathy, he was very puzzled that people are suffering so much and there is no cure. If we go back 2500 years ago, there was, Sushrut, there was Charak, there was Hippocrates in Greek. They were great masters who knew what to do and with nature to cure people. But in between, the work went through a very dark period and there were lots of very, what to say, very painful processes being followed and they never really helped. And Hahnemann was a normal doctor and he saw the suffering. He said, what's wrong? Then he came across quinine, which is called Peruvian bark. And he saw that people were being cured of malaria by quinine. And he said, what is there in this quinine that is curing the malaria? So he started to take quinine himself to experiment. And in that experiment, after having quinine a couple of times, he found that he got malaria symptoms. So he was intrigued. He said, this quinine which can cure malaria of a person who is afflicted, it can cause malaria in me. This is a very interesting new principle. It's like that Newton saw the apple fall, or Archimedes saw that eureka moment when he was, lying down in a bathtub. So this is where Hahnemann stumbled upon this discovery of nature. That means if I will take a natural substance, it will cause a disease-like symptoms. And then he started to, experiment on several natural substances. And they were causing disease-like symptoms, and people who had those diseases were cured by those substances. And then he came up with all these dilutions and more dilution. So what happens is that the energy of nature, when it is goes through huge amount of friction, that energy becomes more and more powerful. In homeopathy, a medicine which is said to be at 30 dilution, it is 1 part out of 100 and again 1 part out of 100 done 30 times. You don't know how many zeros is in that dilution. It comes to a point where there is original substance is non-existent and nothing is visible. And science says that, we don't see anything, so how we don't believe in it. And the reply is that, look, you take this and see the result. So when the result is there, the existence cannot be denied. Maybe you do not have the instruments to see it as yet. It will probably take 1,000 years for science to have that type of technology, that type of knowledge, that type of insight. And now there is something called, I've used the word energy, you can call it molecular memory. In the last about 15, 20 years, there's been a Japanese scientist, Masaru Emoto. He did lots of study on water. He wrote a book called Secret Life of Water, and how water has a retained memory, retained consciousness. There was a French Nobel laureate, Luc Montagnier. He also has, after his Nobel Prize, he has dedicated himself to this study of the molecular memory. And he has done huge amount of work, and many other scientists. And that all that work is available. There are YouTube videos, and today with the Google, we have the ocean of information. We just need to know how to go about working with that information. So Masaru Emoto has, in fact, in his book, I have a picture of that book, just the cover in this booklet, and it's available on all this Amazon, etc. And you can get it and read it, and you will learn about how different thoughts create a different crystal picture of water at the freezing point. water is the only element in this world which is existing in all the three states, liquid, solid, and gas. There is no other element in this world which can exist in all the three states. And water is the only element which expands when cooled. Everything else contracts. So when water is cooled and expanded, it expands, and then the pictures are taken. There are good thoughts which represent a very nice picture. There are bad thoughts which represent a very thorny picture. Different mantras, different treatments. So this and all those pictures are given in the book, and you can see them on the net, that how water exposed to different thoughts presents a different picture. How does this happen? There are in every culture in this world, water is a central theme. We pray with water. There is a holy water of Mecca. There is holy water in a church. There is Charnamrit we use in all our rituals. Why is it holy? What does it do? Because when you pray and when you hold that water, what is inside in your body, your soul, your thoughts, they are captured by the water that you hold. How does it happen? My body is 70% water. This world is 70% water. So my feelings are captured in the water I hold when I pray, and when I take that water, I am offering those good thoughts with which I prayed to myself and to those around me. It will take science a long time to really figure out the deep forces of nature which are at work. But we see that all around throughout history and even today. Now, if water can capture the your thoughts, that means the water molecules have a memory. That means that there is an energy being captured, energy of our thoughts and feelings. So the same energy and thought of all these natural elements is captured in water. When homeopathic medicines are made in a factory, they are diluting those elements for a month in alcohol. Alcohol is used more because as a stabilizer. So once the memory is captured, it stays for a long time. Various herbs, various minerals, they are diluted and stirred. And after stirring, they are filtered. Then they go through so many processes of succussion and trituration for dry elements. And dilution upon dilution upon dilution. So you cannot even count the number of zeros on a 50,000 dilution. Because 1 into 100, again that 1 becomes 1 into 100, then again become 1 into 100. You could just use a number. And the more the dilution, the more the effect, the deeper the effect, because the energy has become that much stronger in the process of dilution. So these are I've said this in very short. I'll also explain to you one or two other things about science, is that the synthetic, when we consume, it hurts our liver. There is something called the first pass effect in allopathy. And when they cannot cross the barrier of my liver, they use injections. The injectables are used because of the toxicity being so strong that if it is being consumed as a tablet, my liver will block and my liver could blow up. But there are lots of medicines which I take orally, but very often with those medicines comes, you have to have an anti-acid medicine, antacid. You have to have some kind of an enzyme. You get weak because the toxicity is very tough to fight. My liver and my kidneys work overtime. And it is because of their working overtime, momentarily the ailment is suppressed. The cure is being done by the body. It's fighting with something alien which has been come into my system. And in that fight, the body is charging itself and trying to help you for some time. And even in today's, today's the world of nanomedicine. They are trying to talk of gene therapy, plasma therapy, gene editing, gain of function research. No matter what you do, you don't know what is the deep down energy of nature. So what you alter deep inside, you don't know. So it is become synthetic, and everything which is synthetic, my body doesn't accept. And if it cannot eject, it stays in my system and it hurts my health very deeply. So, and I have suffered for 7 months in the hospital. I underwent maybe 10 surgeries. I was like a vegetation and I was given up by the world of medicine. And then I said, this is my hobby and I'm going to, I called my doctor and he said, you don't come, you'll be all right in 2 years, and so be it. And I'm standing here. Now we will try to, I've given you a few of the fundamentals of what this homeopathy is all about, and we'll try to understand in very short how we can cure ourselves or so many day-to-day problems without any cost and without any suffering. I was just, Mr. Junjunwala, I was using an example of today. My sister had a bad throat in the morning. So there is a medicine called belladonna. I gave her 2 drops at about 12 noon and twice after that. And she spoke perfectly. In the morning, it was like the throat was all gone. So how can these 2 drops 3 times, set you right? And it costs nothing. And there is no toxicity. So now I'll come to the presentation. This book is only about 40 pages, those who have downloaded. There are 10 pages in pictures in the back. And in the earlier 20-30 pages, the core of the book is only 20 pages. There are about 10 pages on homeopathy. There are 4-5 pages on nature, what nature is all about and how this connects and how this works, which I have explained to you very briefly about molecular memory and energies of natural elements. You can read, and there is about I've explained to you a little bit about the cosmic effect on our energies of the planets and the systems, which is contained in about 2 pages in my preface, which is worth a read for those who are interested. So we'll come to the this page. I think a lot of people who are online, they must have downloaded, and this is a page number 22. And here these 2.5 pages is the crux of my talk today, because in today's world, we just know how to fix it. And we don't really want to know how it is getting done. Nobody has the patience for that. And I will use the other I am a CA. People will say, what is he talking about medicine? It's been my hobby for 25 years. I suffered from sinus trouble from my early age. And we went and tried all systems of medicine and all the expert doctors. After nothing worked, I came into homeopathy. Then also I went to many doctors, because not everybody is skilled enough or pure enough to deal with forces of nature. Then I came across a book which I started to read and learn and get tidbits of homeopathy. Then in 2011, I came across my current doctor, who also saved my life 65 years later. And he started to, give me a few thinks that this is how this works, this is how this works. But for a non-medical person, it is quite a challenge to understand the world of health and medicine. Then he cured me in 2011 and 12 of some lifelong ailments. He cured me of psoriasis, which I suffered for 10, 15 years, 20 years. He cured me of piles. He cured me of prostate problems. Then he also cured me of tuberculosis in 2012. Because I am aware of the tuberculosis treatment and its toxicity. And I was coughing, and it was in April of 2012, and I went to him and I said, look, I don't want to take any of these treatments. He says, don't worry. He gave me the medicine. I still have the prescriptions even today. Phosphorus. And in a month's time, maybe month and a half, my cough stopped. And in 6 months' time, when I did the culture, it was all negative. And that day and today, I'm fine. This is the power of homeopathy. It will cure you from deep inside. It will not suppress anything that will recur. And it will what should I say? I mean, it just cures you from deep inside. Whatever gets cured, all you need is a person with a selfless way of thinking. So let us look at this fever, headache, and body ache, and I will read out. You will see how can there be 3, 6 to 8 medicines for the same thing. Homeopathy is not curing a particular symptom, it is curing a particular person. It looks at the combination and cures. What is the combination of the problem that you're having? So can I enlarge this a little bit? No. No, I'm using my glasses. It's okay. It's a little small print, no problem. It'll be easier. Oh, great. So, fever, headache, and body ache. Usually, these three things have a combination with each other. There may be a combination of cold and cough also, but then that is a slightly different category just below on this page. Running nose, headache, fever, exposure to dry cold winds. Generally November to February is, and I'll explain this again. Let me just read it and then show you the differentiation. Because if I talk individually, then the connectivity will go away. Chill feeling, very cold, very thirsty, and taking small sips of water constantly. Arsenic album. Headache, congestive, throbbing, high fever due to exposure to cold with no thirst is belladonna. Splitting headache, yeah, it's okay. I'll So, splitting frontal headache, fever early morning, often due to constipation.
What is the reason for this?
I'm coming. I'll just churn this after once we just connect to the basic. Muscle stiff, painful, often due to exposure to cold air at night. Aggravation on movement, desire to lie down, sinking in mattress, heaviness of the body. Thirsty, drinks large quantity of water. Kolkata weather when days are hot and nights are cold. Then there is throbbing headache around the temples. Head feels tight with a band, occipital headache. settles in orbits, pain in the lower neck, shoulder, backbone, eyelids are heavy, drooping, sluggish back, fever and chill in the spine, heat stroke, very good medicine. So that is gelsemium. Muscular pain, stiffness, better on movement, feels better in the evening. Exposure to sudden change from heat to cold is rustox. And there is a piercing headache as if a nail is driven in. Coffea, right-sided headache is sanguinaria canadensis. Now, I'll show you with her as a demo. During winter, here the winter is hardly seen, but in Calcutta there is a dry north wind that comes. And in November, December, Jan, February, the moment the north wind blows, and if you are not covered your head, you come down with this combination of headache, fever, and cold. And if you can take aconite nap, again 2 drops 4 times a day for 2 days, all will disappear together. And this is like a very seasonal affair, a dry, cold, north wind affliction. We are right now only talking about the fever headache. There aconite has many other features which will come separately. Chill feeling. Most of us, someday you have heard or you've had that there is suddenly somebody shivering, feeling very cold. You've taken 1 blanket, 2 blankets. There is just no way you are getting warmth. You take arsenic album, 2 drops, and you will see the effect in half an hour. We see that on an everyday basis. Anybody who's got a sudden chill, give him arsenic album, the chill goes. And you thought that I'm so sick, what am I going to do? But this works like a blessing, and I am, as my hobby, I have helped so many people. We have a home kit and I'll talk about it. Headache, congestive throbbing, and high fever due to exposure to cold. Now, one thing about arsenic album written above is thirsty but taking small sips of water. So thirst can be also many times. There is no thirst. There is so much thirst that you are drinking water and the thirst is not going. And there is a thirst that you want to have just 2 sips. You don't want to let go of the water bottle. You are having 2 sips, 2 sips, 2 sips. That 2 sips thirst is the arsenic album symptom. And the belladonna, there is no thirst. There is a fever. So what will happen is that, the winter is come, you went away, you didn't realize it will suddenly get so cold, and you caught a cold, exposure to cold. You come back, take belladonna, same day it will go away, or the next day at the most. 2 drops at a time, 3-4 times a day. Nothing more is required. And we see this happening every day. Again, I say that it is so pure, so inexpensive, so quick, that because there is no profit motive, it is not promoted in the modern world. And then I looked at, let the people who are so educated and so well-to-do take their time, but I see poor people, they line up and they are helped. This winter I have distributed so many bottles of aconite to so many people in Calcutta. Poor people, and they say they are surprised at how we get well so quickly. Now compare this with bryonia. We had small sips of water. We had no thirst. In bryonia, the thirst is unlimited. You can never satisfy your thirst. You will see in the last line, drinks huge quantity of water. Now bryonia headache is like head is getting split, and what normally happens is that in the changing weather time, that is why we have used that period February, March, The days are hot and the night is cold. When you go to bed, you don't realize that you'll suddenly get cold at night. You left the window open, you left the fan on, and while sleeping, you cannot wake up and switch off and react to your discomfort and shut them off. And in the morning, you are down due to exposure to the wind, change of temperature, cold wind. So when you wake up in the morning, this is something everybody can experiment. Your body is so heavy that when you stand, you want to sit down. When you sit, you want to lie down. When you lie down, you are as if you are sinking into the mattress. This is the Brahmia symptom. You don't want to move. You take Brahmia and you see in 1 hour you are on the move. It is as quick as that. I have personally, not only I have done it, use for myself, I have prescribed so many people. Next is, the gelsemium. Now, gelsemium symptoms are more in the you will find there is discomfort at the back of the neck. There is pain in the middle of the shoulders. Your spine has a chill. The back is feeling sore. You have a throbbing headache on the temples. Your eyes are heavy, eyelids. So in fever, you say, I don't want to open my eyes. I want to keep my eyes shut. Gelsemium. It's a yellow jasmine flower molecular memory. And it works in many other situations also, apart, which I will explain separately, because the previous 3 pages give a medicine-wise description. But it's more important to first understand the symptoms and then get to the medicine, because that becomes a little more academic and we don't relate as much. So many people we cure with gelsemium. It's like a very standard day-to-day homeopathic medicine. Now this next is rustox. So in Brahmia, you don't feel like getting up and moving. Even if you try, you will go back to the bed and lie down. In rustox, if you move, you feel better. And as long as you are moving, you are feeling better. The moment you sit down, you feel sick. So most often when people, I said, were you feeling worse in the morning or better in the morning? He says worse in the morning. The answer comes. Movement has helped the body in the reducing the feeling of the suffering, and at that point, for that we take rustox, it will cure that fever, body ache, muscular pain, headache, everything will go. Not just one thing, one medicine for one thing. So there are these, and there are many other types of headaches in homeopathy. These are just like a sample selection for a day-to-day use. Right-sided headache. So if the headache is only on right side, I've helped many people. Where is the headache? They say right side. Take sanguinaria, it will go away in a couple of hours, it will disappear. 2-3 doses, 2 drops each, no cost. Because a bottle is what German medicine made in India is 50-60 rupees, 10 ml. And 10 ml is something that lasts you for 10 years and it can cure 50 people. So effective cost is what, 1 or 2 rupees to cure a person. And if this home remedies are at home, everybody can quickly, help instead of getting so much into stress and tension and running around and looking for doctors and then all kinds of tests and prescriptions and all kinds of toxic medicines, not knowing what to do. So at least this is worth a try. And once you try and once you see the result, you will know for yourself. It needs nothing else. So now you have, I think, a little feel of the homeopathy in headache, body ache, and fever. So we'll go to the next part of this page, which is, and then we have narrated a few types of cough and cold. Now, before I read, I want to explain to you how many types of cough and cold can be there. Cough is a little bit more complex, and I have not used cough here because every sound, every feature of the cough distinguish the medicine. Like I mentioned to you about her throat not being good, belladonna helps. So what was the point? I have a problem eating and my gulping pain. So something happens, you have eaten some sour food, some cold food, the throat goes bad, and you have gulping pain. There is tonsillitis. Many people say you have tonsils. The belladonna immediately takes care of. Anybody who says we have tonsil, I challenge, I said, we'll set you right. One of my friend's son was having nasal polyp and tonsils, and he was advised surgery. This is about a month and a half, 2 months back. So he was given belladonna and a medicine for the polyp. Then after a month, he went to his ENT. He said, your polyp is gone, but tonsil needs surgery. He called me worried. I said, no, I will swear an affidavit. He will be cured. There is no way he can't be cured. And small children, they suffer due to tonsils. You give them belladonna and see the magic. There are other medicines also, which in acute cases, they will take care of the acute situation. If belladonna doesn't work, there are other medicine in combination, the tonsils will go away. All kinds of tonsils go away. So there are cold in which you have a running nose. There is a cold in which you have a cough. The nasal flow is not outer, it is inner. There is a cold in which you have, watering eyes. There is a cold in which you get a green mucus, white mucus, yellow mucus. So every little variation changes the homeopathic medicine that we choose. We'll now go through what is written here. Running nose, headache, fever, exposure to dry cold winds. We have already, looked at aconite as a part of the fever. So, and there we mentioned the same thing. It may be a combination, it may be one or two of these, but it is season driven, the dry north wind. A violent sneezing, it's like called with watering nose and eyes. It is called onion symptoms. Allium cepa is a medicine which is made from a particular onion. So when you cut onions, your eyes water, your nose water, and you sneeze. So if you are having too much sneezing with running nose and watering eyes, allium cepa will set you right by the evening. Again, 2 drops, 3-4 times, maybe at best, maybe 5 times, maybe 1 day, maybe at best 2 days. These are absolute like a bullet if you picked up right. Purely running nose, watering nose is arsenic album. We have seen arsenic's thirst features and others. Swollen tonsils, I spoke to you about belladonna. Tough, stringy mucus. Many children, what happens is that they are playing all day, but when they go to sleep at night, they cough. This differentiation will tell you it is calibichrome. Why it happens is that when they lie down, the nasal flow is going into the throat and they are coughing all night, they are unable to sleep. And when they wake up in the morning, again they are playing and they are okay. Calibichrome will reverse the flow from inward to outward and set the person right the same day or the next day. I have personally helped many people. I simply ask this question: is the cough more at night? Or is the child coughing at night? It says yes, means you know what is happening. Yellow mucus is pulsatilla, and purely watering eyes is euphrasia. What happens that we catch a cold, there is a eustachian tube between the nose and the eyes, and that tube gets blocked, and the flow from the nose starts flowing from the eyes. Euphrasia. Same evening you will see the relief, and by the next day or two it will all disappear completely. This is the fun of these homeopathic medicines. We move on to the next page. Here I've picked stomach pain, gas, bloating, nausea, and vomiting. Now I will explain it as we go along. It will save some time also. The first one is Allosoc, made from aloe vera. Most people will have experienced that once in a while there is a stomach upset that the stool escapes even before you can reach the washroom. Very embarrassing, very difficult, but you cannot hold it. It becomes that kind of a situation. And even if you get a few seconds, maybe half a minute, and you are able to reach, it's a stool mixed with gas. And the lower stomach is very noisy. It happened with me, I think, about a week or two ago. One day in the office, I said, what happened at 3 o'clock? I suddenly had a stomach issue. And then I realized by 7 p.m. that, this is an Allosoc symptom. I had once at 7 p.m., I had at 10, once at midnight, and next morning I was virtually normal. Simple one aloe vera medicine is Allosoc. High dilution, only molecular memory or energy of nature. Science cannot see anything, but it just works wonders. The next one is food poisoning due to spoiled food, nausea, vomiting, and loose motions, arsenic album. Again, you see arsenic album is appearing in the fever section also, in the cold section also, in the stomach section also. So which is a main discomfort I'm facing? If I pick up the medicine on that basis and take few drops, I'll know for myself. What is food poisoning? In this, sometimes, very often when people say I have a stomach problem, I say, did you eat on time or you ate late? Was the food cooked? Was there a gap between cooking and eating? That's the first question. Because the food, if not kept in the fridge and kept outside, oxidizes. And once in a while, by mistake, that happens and people eat that food. The oxidized food, which becomes toxic and causes food poisoning. Once in a while, there may be some ingredient which has been, which is stale and which has become toxic. When you have a stomach issue, you will ask your question that, how's my stomach? What is it saying? It is saying that you should vomit and you are having loose motions. This combination means you have eaten something wrong. And it is a case of food poisoning, arsenic album. Again, maybe every 2 hours, we have used certain dilution, which I'll come back and explain to you about the kit, which are very safe. I think we have used 200 for arsenic album. You will be cured the same day, at best the next day. 400 children studying in a school, by chance there is something happened in the canteen and they had a food poisoning and they all fell sick. Give them arsenic album every hour or two and see in 6 hours they're all running in the playground. No trace will remain. Third one is carbo veg. Carbo veg is actually simply charcoal, wood charcoal. It is made from wood charcoal. Wood charcoal has a lot of curative properties. Nowadays, you get a lot of advertisements, this is mixed with activated charcoal and all kind of things. They're trying to use natural elements as selling points by mixing them with the unnatural. Carbo-veg is very interesting symptom. You've eaten your food. Two things important. By lunchtime, you're still feeling heavy. You are hungry, but the food is still stuck in the upper stomach. And there is also a lot of burping. The discomfort of the upper stomach, the food is stuck in the upper stomach, and there is a lot of burping. You take carbo-veg 2-3 times a day, the food will go down, the digestion will restore, the burping will stop. If you ever get undigested food in the stool, which happens once in a while, you take carbo-veg 2-3 times, it will all go away. It's a very simple wood charcoal made medicine, diluted. Next is Ipica. In Ipica, there is a lot of vomiting sensation, but there is nothing in the stomach to vomit. But the feeling of vomiting is not going away for day after day. You give Ipica and you see the result the same day. For pregnant ladies who cannot have their normal meal, give them Ipica twice and you will see they will like to have their normal meal. The sensation to vomit is cured by Ipica. Next is Merxol. Merxol is again very powerful. You get amoebiasis, the blood in the stool, or a lot of pain in the navel area, old infections, colitis. You take Merxol 2-3 times, 2-3 days at the best. Next, Nux vomica is a wonder medicine many people have heard. It's like one of the typical Nux vomica symptoms is you get pain half an hour after a meal, roughly. The stomach is not paining, but after eating, after a little gap, your stomach is starting to hurt. Used to, in today's modern life, very often we are not able to eat on time. One is the food deteriorating. One is the mismatch with the body clock. So you are having fresh food or well preserved food, but you are eating it at the wrong time. Everybody has a certain routine and they eat at certain times, and your body feels hungry at that time because at that time your stomach is secreting digestive juices. It knows that I get my food every day at this time. And that is how you feel hungry at that time, because the juices are secreted in your stomach and they create the sensation of hunger. And if at that time you do not give food, well, maybe due to compulsions, people are, now it's a 24/7 life, people are doing night duties and all kinds of things. The secretion in the stomach will hurt your system. And so there is a mismatch between the eating time and the body clock. And that mismatch of the clock is quickly set right by Nux vomica. One of my professional friends had gone to Delhi and come back and he said, I took arsenic album, but I'm not feeling good. My stomach is. I said, what time did you eat? He said, there was a, so delay, there was a function. I ate at 12 in the night. I said, you take Nux vomica, you'll be okay tomorrow. And we are traveling and we are exposed to so much of stress and other irregularities. And each of these medicines have very interesting other features. I will come back to that, because I want to watch the time and cover these 2.5 pages. Acute acidity is cured by Rubinia. This is again very interesting. Shock and injury. These are two different things. It can be injury, it can be shock, it can be both. It can be trauma. It can be an emotional trauma. It can be a bereavement trauma. There are so many variations, and for each variation there is a separate homeopathic medicine. Recently, there was a case of a gentleman who had very large dues of the institution, and he knew that he's getting some letters, but when the letter came, he suffered a shock. We gave him aconite, the first medicine. One of my friend's son in the US suddenly had to undergo a major surgery, and when he learnt about it, he got a shock, and he's ready to go to the US. We gave him aconite. One person, communication in the family, you are being harassed by somebody and you get a shocking sort of a reaction. Aconite is a medicine for shock, sudden fear. There is an element of fear in that shock. Physical or emotional injury and trauma. For example, in an accident, somebody fell down, somebody has had a road accident. There is physical injury and there is emotional injury, trauma all together. It becomes quite a mixed subject. Arnica is a great medicine. You see, what happens is that when, let's say, you fell down, you hurt, people are playing. Everybody says, let us put ice at the affected area. We put ice because we want to drive away the blood from that area. The blood vessels in the site of injury, they get broken, hurt. If the blood is allowed to flow, you will get swelling. So you are using ice to drive the blood away so that those cells which have been injured can heal. And thereafter the blood can come back. And thereafter you will need heating to call the blood to cure that site. Blood in our body flows to the hot spot, the fundamental principle of nature. 1/3 of our blood is in our head, and our blood flows to where there is hot spot. For example, when you have food, the blood, because of the heat in the stomach in the process of digestion, you start feeling giddy because the blood from the brain has gone down to the stomach area to digest the food. And that is how you feel a little lazy after eating. There is the cold water bath. Cold water is a great health mechanism. When you take a cold water bath, the blood is being driven deep inside your body because blood is trying to run away to a hot spot. There is no hot spot on the surface. All the blood goes deep inside. So it nourishes your bones. So that is how cold water is very important. There are many facets of this. And in winter, if you cover your head, your ears, 1/3 of the chill is gone. Because 1/3 of the blood is here, and if I can keep my blood warm, I'm fine. And there are many features of this blood flow. Next is calendula, is the homeopathic antiseptic. I mean, if I have to go to my dentist, he says, you please take these antibiotics for 3-4 days and come back. And I tell him, okay, and I take calendula and go. I said, I'm fine, please go ahead. It's a wonder antiseptic in homeopathy. We again explain to you the calendula other features. Cantheris, burn. Cantheris is for the burn. Burn caused by fire, sunlight, boiling water, scalds. Cantheris is the medicine. Surgery shock is carbogage. Crushed fingertips. If the wind has blown and you are standing in the door or in the window and it came crashing on your finger, and the fingertips are crushed. You take hypericum, it will almost disappear in a week's time. Hypericum will restore all your nerves. It's also maybe use the blow on the head, or toxic people fell down the stairs on the lower back. So there is a bunch of nerves in that area. So nerve injury is hypericum. The next two are very interesting. People are playing games, they get injured. There is a pull. People say tennis elbow. Somebody has, a pain in the wrist. Somebody has a pain in the foot. There are 5 parts. We have the muscles, we have the tendon, we have the ligament, we have the bone. Between bone and the muscle, there are these 2 other things, tendon and ligament. And there are bone-to-bone connectors called cartilages. So somebody had a major, injury. So all these 4 or 5 components are affected. So when people come with that problem, we need to understand that is the injury only muscle and only muscular and this tendon, or is it ligament and bone also, or cartilage also? The muscle and tendon is cured by Rustox, and the cartilage, tendon, and bone is cured by Ruta. Sometimes by mistake you hit your hand on the wall or on a piece of furniture, and you find that area is hurting for so many days. Because the bone is injured. Bone is difficult to heal. Ruta is like a bullet to heal the bone surface. And there are many other features again of each medicine. In fracture, we give calcarea, phos, and symphytum. They cure the fractures very fast. Then we have a few children and infants medicine, birth shock, urine stoppage, scratching of genitalia, aconite, burning, swelling, stinging pain due to insect bite. Small children, the insect has bitten and they're like in difficulty. You give them apis 2-3 times, it will all disappear. They become very sensitive to insects. The children are so pure, so their body reacts, comes up with blisters and discomfort and redness. Tonsils I have already explained about. They are cured by belladonna. This chamomile is like a real boon for the children. It's when they are teething, they want to be carried and crying, and for lots of children problems and infant problems, chamomile is even being prescribed by my friend's grandson in Dubai, by the Dubai doctors. They're telling them to take chamomile. It's internationally recognized, the effects of these simple homeopathy. Stomach worms, Sina, corn is antincrud, bed wetting. They're growing up and still at night they wet the bed, so it will stop if you give them this equisetum. Dentition, diarrhea is podophyllum. Wind and colicky pain. So these are the common use, some of the problems, and all of them are not in the kit, but most of these medicines are in the kit that we have prepared. Cover the last one also a little bit quickly. This first one, aconite, we have already discussed. Apis, burning, swelling, stinging pain due to insect bites, we have discussed. A lot of this puffiness below the eyes. This is also a swelling, puffiness below the eyes. This is also sorted out by Apis. Sudden fatigue, sore, bruised, lame, feeling as if beaten before and after surgery. And also relieves pain. So many people come up and arnica is a painkiller. So yeah, it helps a lot in the pain. I'll come to the earlier page and explain you a little bit more. Air sickness is belladonna. Burning and difficult urination, burning sensation anywhere is cantharis. Sudden weakness, we have covered carboveg. Pregnancy, nausea, I have said. Recurrent mouth ulcers, Merck, Sol, and Borax. They are available everywhere. In any homeopathic shop, you can go and buy. An antidote to allopathic drugs and alcohol is Nux vomica. Stomach hernia. Nux is a great cure for early stage hernia. But how do you know it is hernia? Anybody who has a stomach upset will kind of hold the stomach like this, like this, like this. But if you have hernia, he will point a finger. This is where my pain is. Anybody who points a finger at the stomach ache is an instant sign of hernia. And I can see, I mean, couple of dialogues, I said, oh, no. Recently, my friend's cooked because he keeps standing. He says, I gave him Nux vomica, he's very happy. Earlier also, my brother, I gave him. Hernia is cured. There are other medicines also. And I had suffered once long ago, and inguinal hernia, and I cured myself at that time with Nux vomica.
It's a severe pain, hernia.
Yes, hernia pain is severe. I was suffering for, let's say, 2 weeks, and I didn't know what to do. Then I looked up a book on human body which says in that region there is inguinal muscular system in the thigh fold. And then I looked up the homeopathy book. It says left side Lyco, right side, both sides Nux vomica. And I had Nux vomica and I took something. I was in so much pain for 2 weeks. If I sit down, I can't get up. And the very same day and the next day, I found that it is going away. In 2-3 days, it was fully gone.
What exactly is hernia?
Hernia is what happens. Our body has so many organs, and so they are all held together by tissues between the stomach and the liver and the pancreas, and there is a body tissue. If you strain yourself or your job is standing, or there is a function in the family and you have been standing for too long, or you have people of certain age and slightly weaker health, the organ pressure creates a rupture in the body tissue.
Carrying heavy weights?
Sorry?
Carrying heavy weights?
Yes, carrying heavy weight also, because the pressure of the organs on the body tissue causes rupture of the body tissue, and that is hernia. And at an early stage, this simply goes away. Thorn-like feeling in the throat. You will feel suddenly that there is kind of a thorn in my throat. Paper cell will disappear in half an hour, 1 hour. Itching upon undressing. Again, these are all my own discoveries. Once I was like, every day I go home and when I'm changing, there's uncontrolled itching for half an hour. And then it goes away and the whole day I forget. And after about 2 weeks, I said, what are you doing? Just address this problem. And I open my book and read, and I find the medicine Rumex. And I take Rumex for 2-3 days, disappeared. Cough stops on taking a hot drink, spongia. So among the various coughs, here is one which I have experimented. My daughter was very sick. I had to fly to the US the next day or the day after, and we went to a party, some wedding party, and suddenly I said, you just had soup and your cough stopped. Is that right? She said, yeah. Understood. Spongia and the cough will go. And there are many things in homeopathy, like one of my friends who had collected all over the world and he was like coughing for 2 months and he came back to Calcutta. He said, nobody in the US or Dubai can find a cure for my cough and I don't know what to do. And I don't know what happened. I said, does your cough begin at 4 p.m.? He was stunned. He said, yes, but how do you ask that question? I said, forget it. Send your driver and take the medicine. You'll be all right in 3 days. Because this is all nature. And the nature works by the time of the day, by the seasons. And that is how this medicine works. In this season, this will happen. This season, this will happen. So there is a nature to, and it is all by observation. You don't know how nature works deep inside. But If somebody not well, give him ajwain, give him kali mirch, give him long. So that is how, by experimentation over volunteers, the effects of these natural diluted substances have been meticulously recorded. And if you actually go a step deeper, today there are these apps available on the phone. I also have 2 apps, and it's very difficult to fathom the whole mysterious world of nature. But you read and you are like fascinated how people are cured. इसको थोड़ा short करें. How do we squeeze the butter on this laptop?
Just
In this page, I have explained how these medicines are to be taken, half a page, and what are the precautions. Very simple explanation. You try a few times, you will know. Even if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter, because these are all impressions, these are shadows of nature. At that level of dilution, you know that when you take these drops, my body immunity feels that there is this shadow of nature, and it triggers my own energy to cure myself. End of the day, these are not medicine, these are triggers. There is no visible substance, just there is an invisible energy which is triggering my body response to cure myself. Now, I want to, we've had I will walk you through quickly in 10 minutes about the outline of the book. And one or two things, maybe that medicine by symptoms, and I'll show you the pictures how these are made. Can you just shorten it on one page? Single page.
scroll up.
अच्छा स्क्रॉल करिए इससे करिए ठीक है see slightly smaller.
One picture at a time is possible.
No.
Okay.
All of these things are described in Ayurveda. Recently, about 3 years ago, I got a book by a leading Ayurveda of India, S.K. Jain, about medicinal plants in India.
Ayurveda is also plants.
Yes, mostly natural substances, plants and minerals. And then we figured out that which are the sources of the 21 medicines covered in this book. We discussed about aconite. I'll quickly go through the pictures because I want to talk about those specific medicines also. So there is this aconite plant. There are these Allium cepa onions. There is aloe vera. There is apis mel, the honeybee. There is an arnica flower. There is a white oxide of arsenic, which is arsenic album. There is a belladonna berry. There is a bryonia plant. There is a calendula plant. So there is again cantharis, which is made from the venom of the Spanish fly. The wood charcoal for carbobase. There is chamomile flower, gelsemium flower, hypericum flower, ipica flower. There is calibicrum, which is potassium. There is merxol, mercury. There is nux vomica, nut. It's contained in a nut, which is also known as poison nut. Then there is rustox. There is plant, robinia plant. There is a ruta plant. And here is this cover of a textbook by a master. There is cover of Secret Life of Water. And then the rest of the pictures you can see later yourself. There are pictures of a factory, how the medicines are made, and how what was by foot, they said my leg has to be amputated and there is no cure in the world, and what was the condition, and all those pictures, and few samples are given at the back. So we'll now come back quickly to this, what I wanted to complete. See, we have created a home kit of these 21 medicines and of a specific dilutions. We have given here what is the source they are made from for anyone who is interested in more detail. Already about 700-800 kits we have made. There are all companies make good medicines. We use Schwabe India because of a moderate price range and good quality. There is a company called Recweg, which you will come across, which is very expensive, double the price. And in Schwabe India, we have collected these 21 medicine, made a home kit. So lots of people connected with us have a home kit. And if they keep the kit at home, the market price is maybe 1,500-1,800 rupees, but we get it for 1,000 rupees. So I brought certain amount of kits. And after talking about the disease path, we can now look at the so used to the laptop.
Okay. I don't think it, but it's always done.
Questions. Are there questions we have to take?
Yes, there are questions. There are questions on the Q&A box. Should take that.
So how we will deal with the questions? Here we will see them.
Yes.
So I'll just take 5 minutes more and then
It's not
start.
on.
No, it's on.
For jaundice related issues, which medicine would you
Shall we?
suggest?
Questions?
I'll give you that all.
Say if you are having a little bilirubin on the higher side,
No.
the maximum it should be 1.2, total should be 1.2, 1.3.
Gracie,
If you are having 2,
you can sit. I give you that.
That I mean, I know that there are couple of homeopathic medicines, but that needs doctor's advice. As my hobby, I talk about the day-to-day problems,
Okay.
and I know how these things are called, but I cannot select the medicine and the potency. There is chalidomium, there is lycopodium. There are several medicines which work on the liver to set it right. But if required, we can arrange a doctor's consultation and prescription, and we can always get medicines online from anywhere we like.
How much time can you keep these medicines? You buy any medicine, so how much time should you consume it in? Or
The
you get
Expiry date.
the liquid shelf life is very long. The quality of alcohol is good, like Schwabe India. Nothing happens in for 10 years.
okay.
But if you take pills, then the pills shelf life may be 6 months to 1 year at the most.
You want.
So 1 minute, please. So we have the way we have looked at the various ailments and their remedies. Here, 2 pages before, is each remedy, each medicine, what it works on. We have just indexed it in a different way. So sometimes you are confused. You are looking at the symptom in the ailment section, and sometimes you are looking at the medicine section. And slowly you start getting the hang of it. This is again 2.5. Like I just talk about the first one, aconitum nerve. We have discussed running nose, headache, fever, exposure to dry winds. We have also discussed sudden stiffness, tightness, sudden fear, acute. We have discussed sudden shock and fear. We have discussed birth shocks. So from those 2.5 pages, the symptoms of each medicine are here indexed by each medicine for ease of understanding whenever there is a confusion. Yes, please.
Yeah. Does homeopathy have cure for vertigo?
Yes.
Hello. Does homeopathy have cure for vertigo and migraines? This question is from Kirti Gala.
It certainly has, and we are dealing with many patients. It's my doctor who advises in those cases.
You can suggest it.
No, I wouldn't like to guess on that. No.
Okay.
I know gelsemium works, but then vertigo could be for different reasons. The reason has to be diagnosed.
Okay, thank you. Then Vijay Kapta has asked, on tonsils also works well in case of acute pain of throat, fever and body pain and headache. What is difference between the on tonsil, tonsil on liquid and medicines given here?
I could understand the question. He is talking about specific medicine.
On tonsils also works well in case of acute pain of throat, fever and body pain and headache. What is the difference between the on tonsil, tonsil on liquid and medicines given here?
See, in the market, there is a lot of business activity. Even the homeopathic companies, they create a lot of formulations. So if there are, as we have discussed, different medicines for fever, headache, for cold and cough, and for stomach ailments, they create a mixture of all of them. And they give R39, R22, R19, so many names and so many combinations. And then they are being misused because, you actually need a specific medicine for a specific ailment showing specific symptom combinations. So I wouldn't suggest anybody having any of these formulations which are sold in the market as quick cures.
Okay. Next question is from Kirti Gala. Also, is there a cure for sinus?
Yes, certainly. Lots of sinus cases are cured easily in homeopathy.
Then another question from her. Anything on vitamin D3 and B12 deficiency?
We are being taught by the modern world about vitamin deficiencies and all kind of chemical imbalances. My sodium is high or low, my potassium is high or low, my vitamins are high or low, and people are being driven towards these synthetics, which are very harmful for the body. Number one. Number two, the basic principle is the moment you consume an external supplement, there is an oversupply in your body, and your body gets into an alarm state. And it stops making those very vitamins because it needs to first deal with the oversupply that you have fed. So your natural processes get blocked. So I can only share my own experience that after having around 10 surgeries and become like a dead wood, I have not taken a single vitamin in 7 years or a supplement because I know they are very harmful. And if your body's energies are restored, your vitamin production is automatic by your normal food. Yes, please.
Any medicine for bedwetting in kids?
Oh, we have given that medicine in that equisitum. Equisitum 30, she can get and give 2-3 times for 2-3 days. I think it will all go away.
How many days medicine should be given for bedwetting?
It depends on each person, but you give it for 3 days and see. It may require 2-3 days more, but usually that works.
Next question is from
And,
Mayur.
sorry, one second. But again, this is for children. There are similar problems with very aged people. There, the medicines are different. Children is equisitum. When aged people, the nerves go weak, and their nerves need to be restored. So you need a quick support to control the urine, and you need a slightly longer term support to restore the nerves' energy. That is how there is a difference in the
Next question is from Mayur Nayak. Normally, it is believed that homeopathy medicines work slow, but your experience seems to be different. Any particular diet to be followed while taking homeopathic medicines?
I think homeopathy works like a bullet, which I see on a daily basis. And it is slow because when you try to go for homeopathy for chronic ailments which have gone deep in your energy and the imbalance is very strong, that would certainly take time to cure. But day-to-day ailments, it is the fastest cure available. You can cure yourself in hours, not days.
Any particular diet to be followed while taking homeopathic medicine?
There are no diet restrictions. You need a neutral mouth. The medicine is so soft that if you have had anything, even a sip of tea, and you take that medicine, the medicine will not work. It needs a gap between food and the medicine, half an hour before and after, or maybe 20 minutes before and after, so that there is a neutral tongue. Best is to wake up in the morning and have the medicine in your without even washing, without even brushing, or have it late in the night or during the day when there is gap between the meals.
And without
But
water? Without water?
Yeah, you don't need water for that mostly.
Okay.
And the diet restriction is people feel that, oh, why I cannot have garlic, I cannot have onion. Why garlic and onion,
The
raw
doctor
garlic?
says like that.
No, I'm explaining. Why the raw garlic or raw onion is advised against is because their residue in our mouth remains for a long time. And if the residue remains for a long time, then it will kill the medicine. The medicine it's not getting chance to touch my energy. So you can have cooked garlic, cooked onions, if you are having homeopathic medicines, or there should be a much longer gap. And when people have joint issues, they're advised not to have sour food. So there are some specific restrictions and specific ailments, not nothing as in general. Yes.
It is said that homeopathy can be consumed along with allopathy. Is it true?
Yes. And it's true because allopathic is trying to get into your body from the surface. And homeopathy is going deep in your energy and curing you from inside to outside. Allopathy is outside to inside and it cannot go very far inside the human body. Yes.
Next question. I have already used homeopathy medicine for frequent stools 6 times a day, but can carbo-veg work?
No, frequent stools is not carbo-veg. Frequent stools will be more likely, it must be an affliction of the lower stomach. And if the stool is uncontrolled or noisy stomach, it is allosoc. The allo medicine works for frequent stools.
On the earlier question, Vijay Kapta has again been asking, he's speaking of specific medicine on tonsil.
Specific is belladonna, we discussed.
Okay. Next question is Kirti Gala. The vertigo related to cervical spine. What does homeopathy recommend here?
I would suggest a doctor to prescribe the medicine. I know CBC fuga is there in cervical issues, but again, I wouldn't be able to do that precise diagnosis and advise the precise medicine. But it is curable, and if anybody wants, at the back of our book, there is a WhatsApp number. There is my email ID. They can reach out and we'll get a consultation and we will send a prescription. Again, I suggest you can buy the medicines anywhere and order them directly yourself and consume those medicines yourself as per the doctor's advice. And I just want to repeat one thing, that in this whole endeavor, we are not looking for anything. It's a complete service where we give and we don't want anything. Yes, Gracie?
Just a second. Back to question. Okay. Any medicine for knee and joint pains? This is my next question. Knee and joint pains, medicine.
Certainly, the basically knee pain is different and the joint pain is different. There could be arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, there could be osteoarthritis, there could be some muscular issues. Each one has a separate medicine which needs to be diagnosed by the doctor. And simply muscular stimulation happens with Rustox. And the better thing is to do some guided exercises. But for arthritic situation, we have to consult the doctor, and we are treating both osteo and rheumatoid arthritic cases.
Any medicine to control uric acid?
Again, we are doing it with number of patients, but I will not prescribe on that. Yeah.
So that's it.
Because I can pull out, I have hundreds of prescriptions on my phone and I can pull out and I can give you the name, but I cannot prescribe the doses and frequency and the dilution.
Okay. Forum Mehta, would you like to talk? Hello. Is Forum Mehta there?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Would you like to say something?
Uh,
She's a homeopathic doctor.
means regarding, yeah, I'm a homeopathic doctor.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, actually we have different methods for prescribing homeopathy. So right now, sir has told about acute, like specific symptoms. And we also have another method also, like mind method. So some practice according to that, like. Hello.
That's a matter of experts and qualified doctors.
Yeah.
Not my subject at all. I understand some of those differentiations, but I wouldn't talk on them.
Yeah. And sir, can we we can mix the medicines, like we can give one medicine at a time, or we can give two at a time?
See, in our practice, we can see that we can give up to 2 or 3, but of a different dilution. We use 200, 130, maybe there's a mother tincture, maybe we give 1000, 1 and 3/4 to begin with, and then have the others to ameliorate the other accompanying symptoms.
Okay.
What I understand a little bit is that in the classical homeopathy in the modern world, because of huge toxicity of human body, due to the environment, food and water, etc., the classical one medicine approach is somehow not giving the results it used to give.
Yeah, it is very difficult to practice actually. Okay, sir.
Nice of you to have joined and heard. I hope I'm trying to spread this to every household. People can, understand the magic of nature and use it for themselves. At least for the day-to-day problems, and once they see that happen, they would know that all chronic problems have very interesting solutions. Your dreams will guide to the solution, your thoughts will guide the solution, your taste for food, how you feel at what time, your sweat, your spicy and non-spicy and hot and cold and salt and sweet. It's a very, very, so to say, a meditative subject. Yes, please.
Mayur Nayak, are you there? Would you like to say something?
Yes, good evening, Rajneesh ji. It was really a pleasure to listening to you. I have experienced homeopathy and benefited. There is one institution called the Other Song in Andheri, Dhule. So where I met good homeopathy doctors, and they literally cured me for the.
Sorry, cured you for the
uric acid problem. So that was a good experience. Of course, it was a long treatment, but yes, my father was a strong believer in homeopathy, and I've been taking homeopathy medicine, and the forum is related to me, so I take her advice as well, as and when it is required. It was very interesting, and I'm really glad to today learn from you that it works very fast, and especially in case of day-to-day diseases. I think this exposure or this knowledge will be quite useful to all of us. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayur bhai.
Yes, we have answered everyone's questions to your satisfaction, I suppose. So with this, we hand over to KK to conclude.